Hello, today I'm going to make a quick video going over grip lines for the Backdraft Phoenix. The Backdraft Phoenix uses a slightly different grip line than the competitors, the main difference being that it uses a 90-degree fitting. That fitting is required if you want to install a different inner grip line, which is totally possible, and you can do that. I'm going to go over that process in this video, and that is what this piece is for. This is included with your beta kit, so any beta testers are able to install their own grip line if they so choose, and this will be something that you can add into your official release whenever you buy a Phoenix after the beta has ended. The first thing we're going to go over is your macro line and then your quick connect line. I'm going to go over how you connect them and why they aren't connected from out of the box. The reason they're not connected out of the box is because sometimes you have to disconnect and remove this from the macro line in order to install it in your gearbox. For example, I know SEMA gearboxes, if I grab the quick connect fitting does not actually fit through that hole, and so I figured it'd be better to just leave it disconnected because that might be an issue with other types of gearboxes as well. So the way you install this is you simply unthread the cap from the quick connect fitting, and then you slide the cap over the macro line, press the macro line over the hose barb, and then tighten down the cap. And now you have a completed inner grip line. It's incredibly easy. It's also pretty easy to disassemble, but people might not think to disassemble it if I did include it assembled out of the box. Disassembly is just as easy. It's just you do the same steps in reverse. For installing this onto your actual engine, all you need is a flathead screwdriver, and you tighten this down until it seals. Some people are concerned about the wires being in the way. It's not actually an issue. You can just bend the wires. As long as you're not bending the wires back and forth, it won't really be an issue, because typically you're going to be installing this and then leaving it in your gun. So there's not really a concern with that. I have seen other users install a slightly different way. They've gone and put the grip line between these two wires in order to try and alleviate a little bit of pressure. There's nothing wrong with doing this. It's totally a viable solution. I've done it in the past, but it doesn't seem to be required. It does seem to remove a little strain on the wires. So that's also another good way to do it. And a third good way is, since there's a little bit of wiggle room with the dimensions of the engine, you actually are able to turn this slightly. The thing is, you don't want to turn it and actually remove your solenoid. But you can turn it a little to the side and then turn the grip line a little bit to the side in the other direction. If I can get that in. So now both of these there's no strain on the wires at all with this orientation, but your solenoid is a little crooked, and then your grip line is also just barely crooked. So it's not really a concern. It's just, that is my least favorite option. I like putting it, I think the most elegant is putting it between the wires, and then obviously the easiest is just bending the wires back, but that does put a little strain. Anyway, the next thing we're going to go over is how do you use a aftermarket inner grip line on your engine. I do not have any practice with this, so we are winging it. But I believe that these are the things you're really going to need. The first thing is you're going to have to remove their stock fitting. I'm going to just try and cut that off. So what I think you're going to want to do is kind of like Chinese finger trap, bunch up your braided hose, and you're just going to want to cut it at the end, just like that. All right. So then the next step is I would recommend personally using a little bit of super glue. The reason I recommend some super glue is just because that way you don't have to worry about the grip line coming off of the 90-degree fitting. It's more just for a safety thing, because if this comes off while it's installed in your gun, you basically have to disassemble your gun in order to put it back together. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is just push that right over the edge. And now you have that 90-degree fitting installed on a different aftermarket grip line. All right, now we're going to do Chinese finger trap, slide that back up, and there you go. There you have it. Now you're able to do pretty much the same exact process. Let's put this between these two wires. Spread the wires, put it in. Then tighten it down. Oop, we're getting some cross threading. Why are we getting cross threading? I'm doing it sideways. That's why. It's hard to do through looking in the camera. So I'm trying to look around the camera, and that's hard as well. There. As you can see, now we are using a amped braided grip line with the Backdraft Phoenix. So that goes over pretty much everything that you're going to need to know. The only tools you'll need that are not included in the beta kit are potentially a razor knife, some super glue, and a flathead screwdriver. Any of those things are easy to find, and most people will have them lying around the house. But there you go.